Wolves giving you a hard time at the beginning of the game on legendary difficulty? Poison of Paralysis. Want to speed run through an area that's way above your pay grade? Poison of Paralysis. Want a power level of skill without cheating? Poison of Paralysis. Arrogant NPC giving you some sass?
I thought you were already on your way to Bleak Falls Barrow.
Poison of Paralysis. Okay, maybe that's not the best solution for that one, but you get the idea.
How do we make these magical poisons of paralysis, Slack?
Well, that's what this video is all about.
MajorSlackAttack.
Hey, thanks for joining me again. My name is Major Slack, and today's Skyrim video is about, yep, you guessed it, poisons of paralysis. I'm going to show you how to make a big batch of these babies right at the start of the game. Let's use my level 1 Nord for demonstrational purposes just to show you that this can be done anytime, alright? And we're playing on legendary difficulty as always. I always play on legendary difficulty. There you go, legendary difficulty. And if you'd like to get more of these Skyrim game guide videos hot off the press, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Alright, let's get underway. So we just exited Helgen Keep. First order of business is to get down to Riverwood to sell some stuff to Lucan to accomplish two things. One, empty out our inventory so we have 25 pounds spare carry weight. Alright, and number two, we're going to need $100, $100 that is, cab fare. Okay, we're going to have to hire the carriage to go to two different locations. Alright, so let's get on down to Riverwood. Okay, here we go. Riverwood Trader. Let's get on inside. Your inventory is probably grossly overloaded from going through Helgen Keep. So sell them some stuff to get your carry weight down to, so you can carry about 25 pounds worth of stuff and get yourself $100 cab fare, like I said. All right, so let's make our way over to Whiterun Stables. Stables, that is. Just go over the mountain and discover Whiterun Stables. Go to the carriage guy and hire his carriage to go to Morthal. It will cost you 50 gold. Once in Morthal, wait until morning so you have some good flower picking weather.
What, we're going picking flowers?
Yes, we're going picking flowers.
Isn't that for girls?
No. In Skyrim, real men pick flowers, like these. Death Bell, okay? This isn't part of the poison of paralysis strategy, but you want to pick those anyways. What you really want is that what I just showed you there, Swamp Fungal Pot, okay? So you're going to be collecting two things here in Morthal. Death Bell and Swamp Fungal Pot. Okay, we're going to go all along this shoreline right here to get a whole bunch of these. Death Bell and Swamp Fungal Pot. Alright, that's exactly where we're going to go. There's tons of them there, and it's a fairly safe run, and you can collect a lot of them in very short order, alright? So I just put I just put a custom marker where we want to start. There's some Death Bell. Those are these big purple flowers. Both of these ingredients are very easy to spot out in the wild. There's always some more Death Bell here. Big purple flowers. Very easy to spot out in the wild. Okay, so I'm going towards my custom marker, and there's this big pine tree or big evergreen tree where there's a couple of Swamp Fungal Pot right at the bottom. That's kind of like my starting point for this run. There it is right up ahead. That big tree right there, and at the bottom, two Swamp Fungal Pods. Swamp Fungal Pods are these like little white balls. You can spot them a mile away. Okay, so go down to the shoreline, and we're going to go west along the shore and collect every single Swamp Fungal Pod and Death Bell we encounter. Alright, right along the shore. And then we're going to double back along the north side. Alright, the Swamp Fungal Pod. You may also encounter some Canis root as well, which is also good for poisons of paralysis, but they're really hard to spot out in the wild. There you go, more Death Bell. Typically, this is a fairly safe run. You may occasionally run into a mud crab. And there you can see a whole bunch of more Swamp Fungal Pod. They stand out like a sore thumb, those little white balls. Swamp Fungal Pod, Swamp Fungal Pod. A couple more here. And right where the land juts out like that, this is the end of the run, okay? Along the south side. Now we're going to cross over to the north side. It gets a little more dangerous because there could be, like I said, a couple of mud crabs. And if it's a big mud crab, it is a force to be reckoned with. So don't underestimate mud crabs. This is legendary difficulty I'm talking about, okay? There's some more swamp fungal pod. No, wait, that's mud crab. That's a little mud crab. Death bell. We've already been here. We want to go over to this little island here. This little island has a canis root on it. There's some more death bell. There's the canis root. See how difficult these are to spot out in the wild? They just camouflage right in. So if you want to go on a canis root run, I actually did this in my another walkthrough. I did a couple of canis root runs, but yeah, they're really difficult to spot and they're rare. So canis root can also be used for poisons of paralysis, but it's, you know, they're uncommon and they're hard to find. So I like to focus on swamp fungal pot. And like I said, death bell is there's a whole bunch of death bell in this area anyways, and they're very useful for something else, which I will cover in another video. So you might as well get them because they're right there, they're right in your face. Alright, so that's pretty much it. We went along the south side, we went back along the north side. Let's see how many we got. We got 14 death bell and 19 swamp fungal pod. We're looking for 15 swamp fungal pod and about 15 death bell, but it doesn't really matter. Death bell is not really relevant to the poisons of paralysis. Alright, so we can't fast travel because there's an enemy nearby, so we're going to have to get on back to Morthal. So I just put a custom marker there so I won't get lost. Going in the right direction. There's another death bell right there. Grab that. So now we have 15 death bell. And we're back at Morthal. One more death bell here. And we're good to go. Okay, doing an ingredient count here. Here we go. 16 death bell and 19 swamp fungal pod. We only need 15 swamp fungal pod. There we go. Whiterun Stables. Back to Whiterun Stables. And when you get back there, hire the carriage again to go to Falkreath. Okay, Falkreath. This will cost you another 50 gold. So there's your 100 gold cab fare. That's why you need 100 gold cab fare to do this run. When you arrive in Falkreath, make sure you actually go into town because the fast travel drop-off point doesn't actually drop you off in town. So go into town to discover it, and then you can fast travel here anytime you like. Once again, wait until daytime for good flower picking weather. You're not going to be picking flowers outside. We're going to a cave. And go southwest from Falkreath to find this road right here. Then head east along this road, goes up a mountain, and you'll find another road. It's right up against the mountain. And you find another road here. Then go back west along this road, which is running right along the bottom of the mountain. Okay? Now, you probably want to wait to restore your stamina and now run. Don't sprint, run to save your stamina. And probably quick save the game too. Because often there's a thief along this road and at a very low level, and if you're playing on higher difficulty setting, you're not going to be able to deal with him. So if you run into him, just refuse to give him any stuff and run away. Where do we run to, Slack? You run towards this cave icon that's on your compass right now. And this is our destination, Haldir's Cairn. Okay, just show you on the map where this is. It's west-southwest of Falkreath. Okay, Haldir's Cairn. Alright? Alright, once you arrive at Haldir's Cairn, you're going to collect every single mushroom you can spot. Okay? You're going shroom picking. Whoa, man, we're going to pick some shrooms? Yeah, we're going to pick some shrooms. Inside this cave, there's a ton of shrooms, including imp stool. Okay, and if you don't know how to recognize imp stool, just pick all the shrooms. I'm going to show you some imp stool right now. There's imp stool. They're kind of like these golden mushrooms, okay? That's imp stool. You want 15 of those suckers. But if you're not good at recognizing imp stool, like I said, just collect every single mushroom you can see. Because a lot of these mushrooms are good for other things. And I'll get into that on other videos. Alright, so go through the entire cave. And this first part, I'm going to show you in a minute. It's going to fast forward here. As you make your way around the perimeter of the cave, you're probably going to come upon a door. which is locked. Really catching a buzz off these shrooms. Okay, here's the door. Don't go through that door, okay? That continues on to another area where you'll have to get into some combat. This opening area here is all free of enemies, okay? That's why I had you go there. This entire area is free of enemies, so you can go and pick shrooms to your heart's content, all right? So just clear out this entire opening area of all shrooms that you can find, and you should come up with 15 imp stool. If you can find more, post a comment. My personal record is 15. Alright, so there you go. 15 imp stool and 15 swamp fungal pot. Mission accomplished. Let's get out of here. After exiting the cave, go back to Riverwood. Back in Riverwood, go back to the Sleeping Giant Inn, the local inn, where there is an alchemy lab.
This is an ode to Skyrim's staunch protectors.
Before you start making potions, I highly recommend that you save the game. And I'm going to tell you why later on. Okay, save the game. A hard save, not a quick save, a hard save. Okay? And now, let's start mixing. Now, paralysis poisons can be made with 5 different ingredients. Briarheart, canis root, human heart, imp stool, and swamp fungal pot. Now, Briarheart and human heart, just forget about them. You're not going to find them in any abundance to make them worthwhile, okay? Just focus on the 3, canis root, imp stool, and swamp fungal pot. Now, if you mix imp stool and swamp fungal pot, you make what I call a dirty poison of paralysis. It poisons or paralyzes the enemy, but it also adds 22 points of health. So you can only use this kind of like a one-shot deal. You hit them, use them on fresh enemies, and since you can't give an enemy more than maximum health, the 22 points of health is wasted. But if you use it on an enemy whom has already taken some damage, then it's kind of counterproductive because you're actually giving him back health as you paralyze him again. Okay, so there you go. Imp's Tool and Swamp Fungal Pot makes a poison of paralysis, what I call a dirty poison of paralysis, because it actually has some beneficial effects to the enemy, okay? But it's perfect for your use if you just want to paralyze him and run past him or something like that. If you just want to paralyze him and then you know you can kill him before you need to use another one. This is perfect for that. And you can make a ton of these, alright? A clean poison of paralysis can be made with canis root. Okay, these are very rare, like I said. Canis root with swamp fungal pod will make a clean poison of paralysis. Okay, it doesn't have any beneficial effects, so you just paralyze the enemy and that's it. Or canis root and imp stool will make a clean poison of paralysis. Alright? But like I said, canis root are really hard to spot out in the wild and they're very rare, so you're not going to be able to buy a lot of them off apothecaries. And finding them out in the wild, it's I mean, I did a canis root run, but it, you know, like I said, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Alright, so let's make a whole bunch of these guys, these dirty poisons of paralysis, imp stool and swamp fungal pod. Now, I told you to save the game before you did this because this will actually level you up a lot. Okay, if you make 15 of these suckers right away at the beginning of the game, it's going to level you up a lot. And you may not necessarily want to do that. Alright, so you may want to make a few on the fly as you go, a few on the go, like make 4 or 5 as you need them. Alright, it's going to show you how much I leveled up here. You leveled up alchemy 4 times here. I was at 0, okay, and I leveled up that much for my character progress bar. And my alchemy was at 15 and I managed to level it up to 19 already. Just like that, I leveled up alchemy 4 times. So like I said, you may want to make a few at a time as you need them if you don't necessarily want to level up that fast. Alright? So that's that. How do you use poisons of paralysis? I'm going to show you right now. Go to your menu and just equip any weapon. Any weapon at all. You have to have a weapon equipped, and then go to your potions menu and click on poison of paralysis, and the game will prompt you, do you want to poison whatever weapon you selected? And now your weapon is poisoned with poison of paralysis. The next enemy you hit will be paralyzed and you use up that potion. Then you have to poison it again. Right? What I like to do is favorite poisons of paralysis, hotkey it, then you can use it on the fly. You know, when you're out in the middle of a battle just hit your hotkey, boom, and the game will prompt you, and your weapon is poisoned. So this is great when you're middle of the battle. Whack the guy, paralyze him, hotkey, whack with another guy, paralyze him, hotkey, and rinse and repeat. Just, you know, have a riot, speed running through any like high level area to get what you want. So that's it. That's Poisons of Paralysis. This is a strategy and a building block in my collection of how-to videos I'm going to be referring to in other videos. So pay attention, boys and girls. This is an important strategy, okay? How to get together 15 Poisons of Paralysis right at the beginning of the game. Alright, so that's it. I want to thank you all very much for watching. And if you're looking for a complete walkthrough, check out my ebook. You read an ebook? Yes, I read an ebook. The Quick and Dirty Dark Elf Build. Skyrim Legendary Made Easy. How to build a destruction tank mage. A real kick butt destruction tank mage. I'll put a link to that in the video description. Check it out.